Chile Rellenos, a quintessential classic of the Mexican cuisine. Today we're tackling the classic Chile Relleno. Of course, my version of it. We're going to do a couple of shortcuts to make your life easier. I'll show you a couple of tricks of the trade. And get your pen, get your paper, and follow along with me. I've got my little cheat sheet over there, because we're going to go step by step to make this a little bit easier. So, Chile Relleno. There's many recipes out there. You can do it with any type of protein. You can do a vegetarian version of the Chile Relleno. Today, we're going to do a quick and easy Chile Relleno with some rotisserie chicken that I bought yesterday. So, what better to put it to use than to stuff a nice poblano chile. Yes, this is the poblano chile. It's a classic chile of the Mexican cuisine. It's known for its mild but a little bit of spice flavor. When you're choosing a poblano pepper for this application, you want to make sure it doesn't have a lot of indentations. You want to make sure it's nice and plain and simple. So it's going to make it a lot easier for you to be able to peel it. So how do we peel it? There's a couple of ways that you can do. If you have a gas range, which I love, you can burn it in the flame, char it, and get the papery or the waxy skin from it. You can also turn on your broiler in high and do this for a couple of minutes, 6 to 8 minutes, until everything is blackened, and then remove the skin. However, there's another way of doing it, which we're going to do today. I have some oil. I have some oil here at 350 degrees. Now people, when you do this with oil, you have to be very careful. Hot oil will expand. Hot oil is very, very dangerous. So make sure to keep a couple of things in mind when you do this. For this application, we want to have a bowl on hand, because as soon as we blister the skin, that's what we want to achieve. Blister the skin. We're going to put this in here, cover it with some saran wrap, and allow this to kind of sweat. And the steam from the actual chili is going to pull the skin away, making it a lot easier for us to peel. So quickly, we're going to use a couple of spoons and spatula. Remember, it's at 350 degrees. So it's going to do a little bit of popping, a little bit of hissing when the pepper comes in there. Just be patient, swirl it around, and you're going to get a nice blistering of the skin. At first, when you put it, you're going to see a little bit of hissing, a little bit of popping. It's normal. The oil is just getting and blistering all the skin. See? Right away, you can see how the skin is lifting up. You want to do this for a few minutes. 1.5 to 2 minutes would be fine. Sometimes it takes a little bit less. But definitely you want to be paying close attention to it. You do not want to keep your attention away from this, because you can have a little bit of situation in the kitchen. Okay? So look, it's been like 30 seconds and we already have a nice blister skin. However, after the skin is blistered, what I want to do is leave it a little bit more in the oil, so the actual oil is almost blanching the poblano. And what I mean by blanching is tenderizing the flesh, almost cooking it. So when we get ready to plate the final product, we don't have a raw pepper. So remember, this is going to be cooked one more time when we stuff it and we bread it, or we batter it, if you will. It's going to be fried to golden brown, and it's going to be the second part of the cooking process. So for now, we have the pepper nice and blistered. Be very careful. Transfer it to your vessel, to your bowl, and always work on your favor. So what that means is have preparation already in place to put your plastic over the chile. And this is going to be resting here for about 7 to 10 minutes in order for us to get that waxy skin out of there. So while that's happening, I have here already pre-cut like an ounce. Remember, we're doing a recipe for one. You can always expand and multiply the recipe so you can get a little bit more of the product. We have like an ounce of onion. We have 2 garlic cloves. What are we gonna do with this? We're gonna do a pan roasting. If you don't have time to go outside on the grill, maybe it's raining, maybe it's cold, you can do a little bit of pan roasting. I have a pan here that's at medium heat, and I'm just gonna place my piece of onion and my garlic cloves in the pan. What that's gonna do is gonna start charring and caramelizing the onion and the garlic. Then you can peel the garlic, and it's gonna be ready for our sauce. What are we using for a sauce? Doing a little shortcut here. We have fire roasted with a little bit of garlic, fire roasted tomato. If you want to get that nice and char flavor, like if you would spend hours roasting your tomatoes in your product, that's what you're gonna use. Also, we have some canned fire roasted green chilies. I can't emphasize enough the fire roasting. It brings out the natural flavors, it brings out the natural sugars of the product. Remember, chilies are a fruit, so it's gonna almost bring out that sweetness. It's like a juxtaposition of a little bit of sweet and a little bit of spicy. So this actually is gonna serve 2 purposes. We're gonna use this sauce. Part of it is gonna be for our meat filling, which we have here, our rotisserie chicken, and part is gonna be for the actual base of the plate. So we're gonna go for a quick pause. When we come back, I'm gonna show you how the onion looks. I'm gonna show you how to peel the poblano chile, and we're gonna put this together. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So it's been 5-7 minutes already. We have our onion nice and blackened, almost charred. So we're gonna remove this from here. Remember, you can still hear the little hissing and sizzling of this. So it's very hot. Be careful when you work with this. So basically, while this is cooling down, I want to bring your attention to our chile. Remove the plastic, and as you can see, the skin is nice and blistered. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna grab the chile and we're gonna start peeling the skin completely like such. Okay? You wanna make sure you peel all this skin, because this skin is waxy, and this waxy skin will not allow or will prevent the batter from sticking to this. Yeah, it's a little hot, so if you want to wear some gloves, you can definitely do so. Kind of used to dealing with some hot things, but you can see the smoke coming out of there, so that steam has continued to cook the chile. However, it's gonna have some crevices that you wanna make sure you get in there. So a good tip, a good way to do this is just grabbing some good old paper towel. And you can put your chile in the paper towel. It's gonna prevent a little bit of burning. And with the paper towel, you can kind of rub the skin and see how easily it comes out. Now, when I do this in the fire, it's gonna have some black spots of the char that the chili gets. That's flavor, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of flavor, so when I clean it, I wanna make sure that I don't remove a lot of that charred bits and pieces, because I don't wanna get rid of flavor. So our chile is pretty much completed. Remember, this is our little handle. We don't wanna remove the stem. So it's pretty much as good as we're gonna get it. Now we're gonna put it back in here. Just look at it, nice chlorophyll. We're gonna let it sit for a couple of minutes while we work with our onions and our garlic. That way, when we cut into it, it's gonna be a lot easier. So we're gonna come back here. You can kind of twist around, and the papery husk of the garlic comes out really, really fast. Now, nice thing about the garlic is that when you roast it like that, pan roast it, or you roast it in the oven, it turns a little bit sweeter. So Don't be afraid to go ahead and use some fresh garlic, because the flavor is going to be phenomenal. So once we get this papery husk, what we're going to do is grab our knife, cut our onion. Remember, I'm doing a small amount because this is just for the tutorial and for me. However, if I was going to do a large amount, I would definitely use either an immersion blender, or I would use a regular blender for this. Once we have our bits and pieces cut up, we're going to put it in our mini blender here. We want to get a good amount of sauce. So we're going to grate this fire roasted tomato. As you can see, I'm trying to get all the chunks from it. Just like that. And now I'm going to you know what? We only live once, so let's use the whole can. It's like a 14.5 ounce can. With that little bit of liquid that the can provides, is gonna help the blending of this. So, you know what? I'm just gonna transfer this so we can stay close to each other. Let me plug it in here. Make sure I have the little vent open. We're dealing with some product that's hot. So to reduce the risk of exploding, I'm just gonna start pulsing it. Why am I pulsing it? I don't want to make a thin sauce. I want it to be chunky and have a little bit of consistency. You can hear that. That's about as far as I'm gonna take it. So we have some good olive oil here. We're gonna put a little bit of coating, enough to coat the bottom of olive oil. And we're gonna fry the sauce. When you fry the sauce, you're actually bringing out all those nice nuances, all those aromas and flavors, making the sauce a bit more intense. Now, this is a little bit hot, so be careful when you put it. You don't want it to go all over the kitchen. So basically, I'm gonna cook this until it gets to the consistency of a thick tomato sauce. Okay? I had it previously in low heat. I'm gonna put it in medium high. We're gonna cook this until a little bit of this liquid kind of reduces. While that's happening, we're gonna direct our attention back to the chile. Over here. Okay, so you pick your side. This is the side that has the most plain and simple surface. So I'm just gonna follow this natural line here, and I'm gonna cut it almost all the way down and almost all the way up. Remember, you don't wanna go all the way in. You wanna make sure that you leave some space for you to remove the seeds. You want it to be a little bit uncomfortable because you don't want to tear it apart. If you feel that it's a little bit tight, you can do like a little T-cut. A little bit of a T-cut, just so you can access, because the main goal is to remove all these seeds. So a good way to remove these seeds is, of course, if you have your paring knife, you can get here and kind of cut very gently, okay, this seed pod, and then we're gonna go under running water and we're gonna wash all these seeds away. So we're gonna go and take another pause. When we come back, I'll show you all this nice and clean. Stay tuned. We're doing live cooking. I did a little blooper, but hey, we're here to fix it. I forgot to put the chilies in the sauce. So you wanna make sure you put the chilies in the sauce because you want some spice. Also, the fresh cilantro, you're gonna add at the end. And you need to season this just a little bit, bring out these flavors. So, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. Remember, you can always add some more salt at the end. So we're gonna go back in here. Remember, we pulsed it earlier, so all we have to do is just incorporate the cilantro and the chilies. So it's pretty much good to go. Gonna put this back. So once you got to this part, what you can do with this same spoon, we're gonna get this rotisserie chicken. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put the sauce in the rear, and we're gonna put our chicken. I just did it plain and dry, no oil needed. You don't want it to be too oily. So we just wanna bring this a little bit up to temperature, and we're gonna dress it up with some of the sauce. Again, you don't want it to be too wet. You just want this to coat the chicken. It's looking really good, really tasty. So what we want to do at this point is we're gonna grab this, remove it from our heat, and we're gonna add some jack cheese that we have here. Some of the jack cheese. Incorporate all of this together. Now we want to make this, we're going to make sure this is cool before we stuff the chili. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here in the middle. I'm going to show you how we did with the chili. So our chili is nice and clean. Is free from seeds. So it's cool to the touch. So what we're going to do is stuff this. When we come back, I'll show you how we stuff it, and then we prep it before we go in the fryer. So let's do another pause and we'll be right back. All right, so we're back. Our filling is nicely incorporated with the cheese. Cheese kind of melted in a little bit. So what we want to do at this point is we want to carefully, you can grab the chili in between your hands here, and with your thumb, kind of open it up. Look at that. That is beautiful. Like I said earlier, you can do this just plain old meat. You can do this vegetarian with some zucchini, yellow squash, some eggplant, some calabacitas. Or you can go all out and do a little bit of protein and a little bit of cheese, which is delicious. So note that the space that we took out the seeds now is going to be full with good the good filling. So one of the tips that you can do is you can grab a toothpick and you can insert it here, kind of weave it in to create a seam so your filling won't come out. If you want, you can add a little bit more cheese. So we can have a nice and full chile. So after you're done with this, you're gonna come here with a little bit of flour, and you're gonna dust the chile with flour enough to coat all of it, and then you're gonna place it in the freezer for about 45 minutes to an hour. You want this chili to be nice and firm, so when you go and do the battering of it, it's gonna be a lot easier to maneuver. So I'm gonna secure this and maybe add a little bit more cheese. I'm gonna dust it and put it in the refrigerator, or I should say the freezer, so it can solidify and be a lot easier. When we come back, I'll show you how to put together the batter, fry it, and plate the whole thing together. So let's do one more pause and we'll be right back. All right, folks, so welcome back. We got almost everything done. Our chili has been in the freezer for about an hour. We have the oil heating up. We got some chicken broth over here that we're gonna use for the remainder of the sauce. We have our tomato sauce here at a simmer. So at this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of chicken broth that we have here, because we don't want this sauce to be too thick. Remember to taste as you go along. Gonna go ahead with a taste. Really tasty. Needs a little bit of salt. Gonna lower the flame a little bit more. Give it a quick little stir. That's the consistency that you want. Want a loose sauce, but not that loose. We're gonna cover this here, not all the way. And we're gonna direct our attention to here. We have two eggs separated. We got the egg whites here, and we have the egg yolks. We have a little bit of a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and we have some salt. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our hand mixer and we're gonna put the whisk attachment, and we're gonna start incorporating air into our mixture. So basically what we're doing is we're doing a meringue. Not a sweet meringue, but a savory meringue. You can see how it's starting to get nice and frothy, but you want to get this to stiff peaks. Right now is at soft peaks. You see, very soft peaks. We want to take it to stiff peaks, but now we can go ahead and incorporate our baking soda and continue to incorporate some air. One egg yolk at a time. The other one, and our pinch of salt. So basically we have a meringue with some egg, almost like a custard. We have some all-purpose flour that we're going to sprinkle ever so gently. We have a 1/4 cup here, but we may not need it all. So we're gonna sprinkle it. Basically, I'm doing this very gently because I don't want to deflate all that nice air that I have incorporated in the meringue. Look at that. Isn't that a beauty? Take a close up here while I go get my chili. All right, folks. So, let me clean this little area here. This is our chili. It still has quite a little bit of flour in it, but that's okay because we're gonna remove the excess flour. As you can see here, as I mentioned earlier, we have a kebab skewer. If you don't have one of those, you can put a couple of toothpicks to secure our product. So basically what we're gonna do is shake the excess, and we're gonna bring this here, and we're gonna coat it. You wanna swirl it around while you get all that nice custardy egg in the chili. You can grab with your spoon and cover as much as you can, because from here, we're going straight into the 350 degrees oil. So, it's frying nicely. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna grab this little ladle here and grab some of the oil, and I like to put it over the top, and I'm gonna help like such. Okay, it's almost there. Continue to get this little bit here while I get a little paper towel. So we have a plate lined up with some tissue, and we're gonna grab our chile with this slotted spoon that we have here. And we're just gonna let the excess drain, the excess of our fat to drain a little bit. As you can see, our seam with the toothpick or the bamboo skewer is in the bottom side of this. I'm gonna tilt it so you can see it right there. So before we get ready to serve, I'm gonna remove that, and we're gonna go ahead and plate. So voila. Okay, so for our final dish, we're gonna go ahead and grab up our plate. Follow the Mexican theme with some colorful plates if you have it on hand. This sauce is looking really good, really good. And what we're gonna do is bring this over here. At this point, we can discard what we're not using. And you want to make sure that you put a nice amount of sauce in the bottom of the plate. Because you don't want to mess up all that nice golden brown and delicious batter that you just made. Take a look right here. And to finish this up, very carefully, you prick your prettiest sides, your prettiest side right here. If they have a little excess, it doesn't matter. And you put it just like such. We have a little bit of queso fresco, nice and crumbly queso fresco, and you can just sprinkle a little bit over the top. It's gonna add a nice little salty component to the dish. And just because we use a little bit of cilantro, why not put a nice little sprig of cilantro? And there you have it, Chile Relleno with a chicken picadillo. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. For the full recipe, go to Facebook and in the search bar, write the word food tactics. It'll be my food tactics page on Facebook. You can write an inbox message there and I would make sure that I send you the recipe. So thanks for watching. And as always, happy cooking and God bless.